Welcome to LNP Renewable System Integrators. Today we're going to see the basics of the PLCs. Okay, as a building management system engineer and the BACS engineer, what are the things that we should know about the PLCs? So before entering into the topic, let us ask 5 questions to ourselves. Okay, we need to find the answer for these 5 questions at the end of this session. First is, what is a PLC and why should I know about this PLC? Where can I see this PLC? How it looks like? And what are the things as a building management system engineer or building automation control system engineer I should know in the PLCs? First thing is that PLC is nothing but a programmable logic controllers. So using the ladder logic program, using this function block, using this structured flowchart, we can program these PLCs. So it was invented in 19th century. At the time it was called as industrial computers. It is being used in vast applications like manufacturing industry, power plants, building automation system, building management system, robotics, processing industry. Okay, like that it is being used in so many places. At the time of invention, okay, it has a power supply unit, it has a CPU, central processing unit, and it has digital input and the digital output only. Okay, after the invention of electronic equipments, inverters and the converters, analog input and output modules have been used in it. Okay, so as I told earlier, it is very much useful in the electromechanical process like oil and gas industry, building automation system, building management system. It is used in cable manufacturing units, power plants, and automation environments, home automations, etc. So as I told earlier, it was very much useful in robotics, assembly lines, machines, building automation system, building management system. If you see, this is a building. It has a thermostats, it has a sensors, it has a valve actuators. Okay, so this system will interface. This PLC controllers will interface with the SCADA system, and it has a capability to monitor and control the entire building. Okay, if we get depth into the building automation system, in the building automation system, with the help of these PLCs, we can able to monitor and control the heat, ventilation, air conditioning system. We can able to monitor the security panels. We can able to monitor the lightning control systems, and we can able to control as well. And we can able to monitor the lifts, and for the fire alarm system, fire scenarios. With the help of this, by interfacing with the fire alarm system, fire scenarios we can establish in the building automation system. Okay, and if you get it into the HVAC, okay, it has so many applications. Like we can monitor each and every equipment which is being used in the HVAC system, and we can control them as well. If we get into the industrial automation, as I told earlier, for the cable manufacturing, if you send a copper wire inside that machine, through the heating and the cooling process, we can get the output of a wire. And how it's look like, we can classify it in two categories. One is a fixed type and other one is a modular rack type. So if our application is a machine, it has a fixed inputs and outputs, then we can go for this fixed type. If our application is a having number of IOs which is more than 5,000 to 10,000, then we can go for modular rack type. Example, in the building automation, the management system, we can use this modular rack type. Okay, so as I told earlier, based on the CPU's capacity, so many inventions have been happened and so many models have been established by Rockwell Automation. Example, Allen Bradley, ABB, Siemens, Mitsubishi, Omron, G Fanuc, Delta. Like that, so many manufacturers have established big market in the big market in the world using these PLCs. Okay, they have so many makes. Okay, they have so many models, different features. Okay, and if say for example, if you have a CPU which has a capacity to control and monitor 10,000 inputs and outputs, and we are using it for only 5,000, in future maybe some 5,000 IOs are getting added, then without the help of again adding a new CPU, with the existing CPU we can add the IOs in a remote location. Through the network cable we can communicate with those remote IOs using this existing CPU. So this is one of the advantage of this PLCs. And what are the things as a BMS and the BACS engineer we should know? So first thing is that we need to identify and choose the PLC type. What our application defines our purpose. Okay, whether we are going for the fixed IOs, then we can go for this model. Example 8DIDO, 8AIAO. Like this, based on our requirement, we can go for the fixed type. If our requirement, if our demand is on the rack type, then we can go for the rack. And also PLC components and hardwares we should be aware of, because what is its power supply, whether it is a 230 volt power supply, whether it's a 24 volt power supply, what is the capability of its central processing unit, how much RAM it works, how much IOs we can connect with this CPU. Okay, and we need to be very much aware of the power wiring. Okay, because before connecting any sort of input and output devices with that PLC, we should have a field device analysis, and we need to segregate the field equipments, connecting equipments based on the signal type, whether if it is a digital type, digital output, digital input, analog input, or if it is a soft signal we are communicating using the RS485, RS232, Profibus, Modbus, any sort of communication protocols, RJ45 we are using means, then we have to segregate those signals based on these types. If it is a dry contact, NO-NC contact, then we can go for DIDO. In the analog itself, we have two categories. Some equipment will operate with the 4 to 20 milliamps. Some equipment has a capability to operate with the voltage that is 2 to 10 volt. In such occasion, we need to segregate them. We need to power them. If any equipment which require a voltage source, then we have to provide the voltage supply. Some equipment will operate with the current sourcing, then we have to provide the current sourcing. So based on that, we have to categorize and we have to connect the IOs. So as I told earlier, even in certain places, they will ask for the redundancy. Redundancy means if one equipment fails, then immediately it will take over the charge. It's like a standby purpose. Example, I can give you an example of Siemens S7400 PLCs. Even in the Allen Brawlers, we have the redundancy type. So it has a power supply and CPU. It has again power supply and a CPU. If one module, one equipment fail, one CPU fails, even immediately the other CPU will take over the connection. It is used in the places where the changeover time should be in a fraction of second. In such occasions, we can go for these models. Okay, as I told earlier, I had given an example of S7200 PLC. See here, 230 volt power supply. Using the SMBS, we are converting the 230 power supply to 24 volt. And see here, zero reference we are connecting here, and 24 volt we are giving for the NO-NC push buttons. Okay, and in the same way, see here, these are all the AC lamps which need a 230 power supply. So we are taking a line, we are connecting to this terminal, and we're taking the neutral and connecting to the AC lamps. And using the softwares, different softwares, we can program these PLCs. So based on the company wise, it differs software, but the concept is going to be the same. Only the features will be different, but the basics will be the same for all sort of PLCs. Okay, so using those softwares, using the ladder logic, functional block, scripting, sequential flowchart, we can program these PLCs. So this is one of the example of the Allen Bradley PLC, which has a power cable, PLC, 24 ports of input and output terminals. Next, if it is an example of a Delta PLC, in the same way we have a 230 volt power supply. Using the SMPS, we are converting that into 24 volt, and we are energizing the PLCs as well as DC lamps. See here, for the AC, we are taking the direct supply from the line in the neutral, and for the push buttons, we are using this existing supplies. Because if you didn't provide any power source to these equipments, for sure it won't operate. Okay, so we need to provide the power supply for the PLC and also to the connecting equipments. Okay, if once everything is designed, okay, using the back plate, we are installing this inside the control panel. This is the PLC, this is the SMBS, and see here all the outputs normally digital outputs we try to enable through the control relays. Okay, and for the heaters and the fans, heavy equipments which is running with the 230 volt supply, will use the contactors, and for all the protection purpose we are using the MCBs. And if you're connecting any digital inputs, we used to connect through the terminal with the fuses. Okay, this is one of the example where the motor is being connected to the PLCs. To know more and learn more, like and subscribe. And for learning and project related purpose, feel free to contact us. We are ready to serve you. Thank you so much.